after you look at them, then I'll give them. Did you get a copy of these from the Easter? No. Okay, I'm passing them around. Yeah.
Sadly, I knew you were going to start at 6:15.
Well, it was fine. The October 7th meeting of the Albany City Council will come to order. Pledge of Allegiance. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Roll call.
Councilmember Atkinson,
Present.
Councilmember Barnes,
Present.
Councilmember Moss,
Here.
Vice Mayor Weil, Mayor Thompson.
Here. Report on action taken in closed session. The council gave direction to staff and legal counsel regarding items 1 and 2. And council will return to closed session after the meeting for the purpose of dealing with item 3. Next item, please.
Consent calendar. Consent calendar items are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. By approval of the consent calendar, the staff recommendation will be adopted unless otherwise modified by the City Council. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or a member of the audience requests removal of the item from the consent calendar.
Is there any item a member of the council would like to have removed? I would like to have removed 4, 9, and 10. Is there any item a member of the public would like to have removed? I basically would like to say thank you to the Friends of Albany Seniors for their $11,000 donation and for their donation of a bench in the honor of Jewel Okawachi. The chair will entertain a motion regarding the consent calendar.
So moved. Second.
It has been moved by Councilmember Moss, seconded by Councilmember Atkinson, that we approve the consent calendar. Would you please poll the council?
Councilmember Atkinson,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Moss,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Weil,
Yes.
Mayor Thompson.
Aye, and the motion carries. Next item, please.
Presentation, announcement of Albany Local Week, 2013 Uber Albany Local winner.
Hi, I'm Shelley Putzer with the Recreation and Community Services Department. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to award our winner from Albany Local Week. Albany Local Week took place the last week in September. It's the week we celebrate Albany's birthday by encouraging residents to explore all of the great businesses and restaurants and places and things to do in our great town and bring the community together. And we challenge residents to do everything in Albany, and we provide a scorecard to track your ongoings for the week. And this is the third year we've done it, and we would like to award this year, our winner was Carol O'Keefe. If you would like to come up, Carol, and receive the trophy from the mayor. It's like the Stanley Cup. I think you can probably have it for a week, but you have to give it back. So we will keep it on display, and you can give it back to us when you have put it on the mantle. But thank you, Carol, for being our Uber Albany local of 2013. Thank you.
Next item, please.
Proclamation and recognition of Fire Prevention Week 2013.
Want to join me over there? Proclamation of the City of Albany in recognition of Fire Prevention Week 2013. Whereas the City of Albany is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting our city, and whereas in the United States, 1,375,000 fires were reported in 2012, and whereas those fires caused an estimated 2,855 civilian deaths based on data reported to the National Fire Protection Association, and whereas the largest number of fire-related deaths occurred in residential fires, and whereas NFPA estimates an additional 16,500 were injured in fires in 2012, and whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires and home fire injuries, and whereas Albany Fire Department is dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through fire prevention and fire safety education, and does a great job of it. And whereas the 2013 Fire Prevention Week theme, Prevent Kitchen Fires, reminds us to stay alert and cause caution when cooking to reduce the risk of kitchen fires. Therefore, the Albany City Council hereby proclaims October 6 to 12, 2013 as Fire Prevention Week throughout this city, and urges the community heed the important safety messages of Fire Prevention Week and support the many public safety activities and efforts of the Albany Fire Department. And we can not say thank you enough for the great job that you guys do.
Thank you. You'll be seeing us out in the community at the schools and at our annual pancake breakfast, which we look forward to having everybody out here and to enjoy a good time, and also to learn about our fire safety program that we have and how to reduce injuries and kitchen fires. So thanks again, and we'll look forward to seeing you this weekend.
Yes.
Can you give us the place and time of the pancake breakfast?
Yes, it is this Saturday from 8 to 12 at the fire station. I just asked that, so otherwise I didn't have it memorized. But we're going to have a nice spread over there for the community, and come on out and meet our firefighters and socialize with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something? Once I stood in line and somebody was behind me that came from another community, and they go to all the fire departments when they have these breakfasts, and they said, "Oh, Albany's the best." So I know that
I was
'cause I've been
asking
there.
tonight when I went over there about how many people usually show up, and I just could not believe it. I come from a huge town, and that we would never have that many people show up to an event in a community like that. I mean, there's hundreds that show up here. I'm looking forward to really getting out there and meeting some people, but I think you're right. I mean, that number of people to show up in a community this is community involvement at its best, I think.
You might get a repetitive stress injury from flipping all those pancakes.
Nah, we're used to it in the firehouse. We can cook quite a bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Proclamation in appreciation of the 10th anniversary of Target Community Giving Grant for Albany Music in the Park.
Is there someone here from Target? Great. City of Albany proclamation in appreciation of the 10th anniversary of Target's Community Giving Grant for Albany's Music in the Park, which many of us have enjoyed. Whereas since 1946, Target has given 5% of its profits to the communities in which they do business, and whereas for the past 10 years, the City of Albany has partnered with Target to offer the community free concerts in the park through Target's Community Giving Grant, and whereas the grant dollars Target awarded Albany has totaled $85,000, and whereas the City of Albany has offered 43 concerts with over 55,000 attendees, and whereas the Music in the Park concert series has become a cornerstone of community building in Albany, and whereas Music in the Park encourages families, friends, and neighbors from different cultures, ages, and backgrounds to come together and enjoy live music, dancing, and a picnic dinner, and whereas Music in the Park draws bands from all over the Bay Area supporting local talent featuring music from around the world, different generations and genres, And whereas Music in the Park helps children discover the art of music by seeing and hearing different types of musical instruments, singing and dancing. And whereas Music in the Park enhances Albany's recreational activities, strengthens local partnerships, and encourages community engagement. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Albany City Council hereby wishes to express its gratitude and appreciation to Target for its generous contribution to the city's concerts in the park for the past 10 years. Thank you so very much. These are wonderful.
Thank you very much. It's appreciated. Thank you, council members and mayor. We're obviously very proud to be a part of this community, the city of Albany. We're down the street to sell things, and we try to provide a nice environment to do that in. But one of the things we're most proud of is to give back to the community. And things like Music in the Park is a wonderful event, and I had the pleasure of going a few weeks ago and attending it for the first time. So it was nice to see what we've been doing all these years, and it was a wonderful time. So the recognition is appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Go to the city public forum announcements for person desiring to address the city council on an item that's not on the agenda. Please note that city policy limits each speaker to 3 minutes. The Brown Act limits the council's ability to take and/or discuss items that are not on the agenda. Therefore, such items are normally referred to staff for comments or to a future agenda.
Okay, is there anyone who would like to address the council on an item not on the agenda?
Good evening. I'm Carol O'Keefe, an Albany resident and a longtime member of the Friends of the Albany Library, a local nonprofit created to support the Albany Library. I wanted to be sure and announce that the Friends of the Albany Library's annual membership meeting is this Wednesday, October 9th, at the community center, the Edith Stone Room, which is by the north parking lot. And this event is a brief business meeting at 7 and a program that begins at 7:30. The program speaker is Brian Comey-Dempster, and he is the editor of a couple of collections of stories, mostly about his mother's family and her experiences, their experiences at Topaz. But in general, stories of the Japanese internment. It promises to be a very good presentation. Everybody is welcome. You don't have to be a member. We won't even nag you to be members. You can just come, it's free, and there are refreshments. So once again, it's 7:30 this Wednesday, October 9th, at the community center, the Edith Stone Room. Please join us.
Thank you.
There is also one of these flyers on the stand at the back if anybody wants to check for more details.
Oh, great. Thank you.
My name is Mark Creekwater DeRazio. Last time I spoke in front of the city council was many years ago when I lived out in San Ramon. I used to go there and bug them about recycling. This is a different issue. The folks that have been living out on the former landfill, for some of them for many years, been living out there. It's also known as the Albany Bulb. It was formerly a landfill. I just want to ask a very simple question. When they evicted people back in 1999, 14 years ago, they said they were going to build a park. Well, if you didn't have the money for the park when there was a lot of money in the economy, how are you going to get the money now? We're in a major depression, and the federal government's broke. I'd like you to think about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
On May 6th, in your hurry to end homelessness in Albany, you adopted a proposal that will have irreversible and devastating effects on the majority of Albany's most vulnerable population. You all have incomes and houses. You don't know what it's like to wonder where you're going to sleep from one night to the next. If any of you had been through what the average homeless person has been through, just trying to find somewhere that you are allowed to sleep every night, you might be more hesitant to kick more than 50 of your fellow human beings literally to the curb. You've never lived on the bulb. None of you walk your dogs on the bulb on a daily basis, even though close to 100 people do every day, year-round. Many of those people have done so for years. Your understanding of our situation is based mostly on interim reports, brief tours, statistics, and the hearsay of blog posts. And it is because of the narrow channel through which you are fed that information that you are at risk of making mistakes that could do a lot of harm, although they may be made with the best of intentions. You don't know what goes on at the Bulb day to day. We have each made a home for ourselves on the Bulb, although you call them camps. We hung tarps to keep us dry from the rain and to funnel and catch the rainwater. Through most of the year, we have to carry every drop of water we drink, cook with, or wash dishes with from at least a quarter mile away. So please don't make the mistake of characterizing us, people so poor that the landfill is the only place in Albany that we can afford to live, as weak, passive, and inhuman. Sleeping on the streets is not a humane option. Would you sleep on the streets? What about a shelter? The Brooklyn Food and Housing Project shelter that has bed bug problems on a regular basis, and it was declared seismically unsafe after the 1989 Loma Prieta quake. Would you sleep there? None of us want to. We don't have bed bugs out on the Bulb. Never have. What about the Bulb? Would you stay the night on the Bulb? Bet you would before you stay in the bed bug-ridden shelter. Unless we want to live literally on the streets, none of us have any choice but to be out there. You probably think that the Albany Bulb is where we landed after falling through regrettable but sadly inevitable cracks. Or you might say that we have been too lazy, too slow, too stupid, or too weak-willed, and that we knew all along that camping was illegal on the landfill, regardless of the fact that your own police have told us for years that we can stay on the Bulb. Your rhetoric could lead someone with the impression that the decisions you are making on our behalf are being done so to save us. But the timeline that you have shackled us with is evidence that to a majority of the council, we are not people. We are merely annoyances or obstacles, human clutter, junk people. Once you have seen our humanity, if you ever do, you might be at risk of making another mistake. The mistake of thinking that you can put yourselves in our shoes. You may think that you already know how to treat us humanely because you'll assume that we want the same things you want. Your decisions will not account for the particulars of our experiences, both on the Bulb and of our lives on the streets prior to living there. By asking for more time, we all know that this is not asking a lot of you. In asking you to postpone enforcement of the camping ordinance until there's actually somewhere else other than the streets of Albany or some other nearby town for us to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address it? This is a meeting of the city council. It's in public, but you need to have decorum. Would you like to speak?
I wanted to mention a report from the Stop Waste meeting that Pete and I attended, and that Albany's diversion rate of recycled material is 60%, and we could actually do much better than that. Apparently, this is our average in the last 5 years, and then for the whole county, Alameda County, it's 65%. So we're hoping that we'll do better.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? Next item, please.
New business, resolution number 2013-58, authorizing submittal of an application to the State Water Resource Control Board for the Proposition 84 Stormwater Grant Program for the Brighton Street Pilot Green Street Project. Staff recommendation that the City Council adopt resolution number 2013-58, authorizing submittal of an application to the State Water Resource Control Board for the Proposition 84 Stormwater Grant Program for the Brighton Street Pilot Green Street Project in the amount of $300,000.
Staff, please.
city engineer. Tonight, I'm going to present you with the Proposition 84 Stormwater Grant Program application, and I'm seeking your approval so that we can apply on time. The Prop 84, also called the Safe Drinking Water, Water Quality and Supply, Flood Control, River and Coastal Protection Bond Act of 2006. But tonight, we just simply call Prop 84. The idea behind the Prop 84 is to reduce stormwater pollution, implement LID, low impact development, provide multiple benefits, and are technically feasible and ready to proceed. The two major goals behind this program are to improve the water quality and reduce the water quantities. As you know, when it rains, a lot of debris, it will flow with the water going down to the creek or even to the ocean. By having this program, by having some design, we would like to filter the water so that we have cleaner water going to the creek and the ocean. The other goal that we want to meet is to reduce the water quality. When water drops on impervious surface, like pavement, or concrete surface, or asphalt, every drop of water, it will collect by small pipe. And then when it collects with all this small pipe, it goes to bigger pipe. What we have been doing in the past centuries, we have been building bigger and bigger pipes to try to collect all this water. It's up to the point that it's not green. We are using a lot of energy trying to collect all this water and try to take care of it. So we have a better approach, is to let some of the water, let it seep to the ground, so that in some cases it can recharge the water basin. In some cases it can recondition the water, recondition the soil, so that we have a better foundation system. So it provides multiple benefits for us. This program, the total program, it has about $90 million for the whole program. Out of the $90 million, $82 million is available for projects. The rest is used up for managing the bond fund. Last year, in 2012, the Water Board awarded a total of $49 million for projects. There are many agencies applied for the grant fund, and they got the grant fund, and they used the grant fund to better their cities. This year, there's a fund balance of $33 million, and this is the last year they're going to do it. So this is why City of Albany Public Works, we are trying to catch right on it, and hopefully we get a piece out of the $33 million. The process of getting this grant fund is totally competitive. It's a two-step process. The first step is we need to send in our conceptual plan, have the Water Board take a look. If they approve our plan, they will give us an initial award, and then we will provide final plans for the final approval. There's a minimum $250,000 for the proposal and a maximum $3 million per proposal. In general, most of the local agencies, they get about $500,000. In our case, we asked for about $300,000. Although this is a grant fund, well, we do need to have a matching fund, anywhere from 5 to 20%. The Water Board, they have a formula to calculate, and the formula usually is based on whether you are the first-time applicant, or whether the demographics in the cities, or whether the average income of the city. So they have all this put into the formula, and they will let us know once we pass the initial stage, which is the conceptual stage. Originally, when we wanted to apply this program, we looked at the Pier Street Park area. One of the good things about this program is we can use the funding not only dealing with stormwater, but we can also make other improvements like sidewalk. And as you know, on Cleveland Street, there's no sidewalk, which is around the Pier Street Park, proposed Pier Street Park. And we have been looking very hard into that area, trying to get grant fund to help to build some sidewalk and also divert the drainage. However, there are some technical issues in that area. Things like it's too close to the bay. There may be some bay mud. And bay mud, when we encounter bay mud, it's hard for the water to seep through the soil. So there's a difficulties in there. The second thing is it's too far away from a creek. which is one of the requirements from this program. And by pushing in for the PS3 Park area, it gives us a less chance of getting this grant fund. So end up, we look at the Brighton Avenue near San Gabriel, which is right in front of the Albany Middle School. We believe, that's the area that we can get a higher chance to get approval of the grant fund. The reason we picked that area is for multiple reasons. To start with, by doing a project over there, we can improve the water quality in that intersection or even in that area. The second thing is, of course, we'll reduce the water quantity because some of the water will seep through the ground rather than just channel to the pipe. One of the greatest thing is because this is right in front of the school, a lot of students will walk back and forth. We're going to improve the sidewalk, which is very, very important. And also, because with the design, we're going to do some ball bar, we're going to improve the traffic safety. So it's going to improve the pedestrian safety over there. Even better, it's right next to a school and it's close to a creek. So we have all the benefit by selecting this location. I have a conceptual handout right here that I'm going to pass it over to you. So in this conceptual plan, you can see we are going to have some planting areas which can let the water seep through and also act as a filter to filter the water. We are going to improve the crosswalk with bright yellow ladder so that it's going to improve the visibility. And the kids, they can see that, and the driver, they can see much better. And then we can refresh the striping area. And last but not least is we are going to build some ball bow, which can reduce the travel distance between the street. That is going to enhance safety in the area. And the next slide that I'm going to show you is a similar conceptual plan in graphical form. This is something that we are planning to put. You will see a ball bow. You will see some bioswale in there. This is something that we are going to present if the initial stage is a water. We will present it to the water board in the final stage. Of course, we will make the graphics much more closer to what we have on Brighton Avenue. So in summary, we are going after about $300,000 for the grant fund with up to 20% matching fund. We require the city to match about $60,000. We have a very quick deadline, which is October 17. So we need to make a decision real quick. If we are being selected, they will notify us in late December. And after that, we'll continue to work on the final proposal, and then I will come back to do a presentation to you in early 2014. Next, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Does any member of the council have a question? Here's one.
I've got a few. So the 300,000 plus the 60,000 would be design and construction, the whole 9 yards for this project?
That's correct.
What you're thinking it would cost. And is it just covering, I'm a little confused about how big an area this will kind of mitigate for groundwater. Is it just that area right at that intersection, or it's everything that's east on Brighton that would be coming down the street?
That's a very good question. The $300,000, my assumption is about $60,000 for designs, $300,000 for construction. $300,000 of construction is pretty much right at that intersection. So it's pretty much where the conceptual plan that I showed you It's right where the intersection is. That will use up the $300,000. However, because most of the water flowing from east to west, that means a lot of water, when it travels through the area, it will be intercepted by the planter, and the water will be filtered. So the benefit doesn't right at the intersection. It also go beyond, maybe a couple of blocks up, the street.
So you picked this area because it's close to Cerritos Creek, and obviously there are other areas in Albany where this might work, but there's not too many areas. But if you considered all the areas where this might be a mitigation, how much would it cost if we were to do this any place where we have a similar situation close to a creek, et cetera? Have you tried to account for that?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, we studied 4 different locations in a very short time. We specifically picked this location because number 1 is close to a school, number 2 is close to a creek, and number 3, we did have complaint about the traffic safety in that area because it's just right next to a school. So we are thinking, number 1, for the city, we kill multiple birds in one stone. I'm sorry, I take it back. I shouldn't use that analogy. For the city, we achieve multiple benefits. But for the water board, we kind of meeting all their minimum requirements, so we have a higher chance to get the grants. Versus the other area that we study, we are kind of missing either it's not too close to a creek or maybe not too close to a school, or maybe there's not enough complaint, with the traffic. So this is one of the area that I would say this is the area that, it will give us the highest chance to get the grant fund.
Okay. And you said it's competitive. Do you have any sense of how many people actually are going for the $33 million? And had there been any thought for going the first time around, or?
Last year, when I worked for the other agency, I was told 1 in 3.5 agency get the grant fund.
So we have a 33% chance, or essentially. And if we get the grant and construction begins, what are the timelines on this? And I would presume this is something that would happen during the summer, not when the middle school is in process.
Absolutely. The timeline is if we are being accepted by the water board by the end of this year, I will come back to the council and give you guys an update in early 2014. And if you approve the appropriation of the funding, then I will proceed with the design. And there's a high chance that construction will be taken in summer during the school recess, so that there won't be effect in the traffic, or there won't be effect, people drop off their kids.
Okay, that's it for me.
Anybody else?
The plants in the rain garden, they're going to have to be kid-proof plants. I just want to give you a heads up about that.
Thank you.
There's
yes.
a lot of foot traffic with Albany Middle School kids there, and they're going to be running through the middle of it.
Thank you. We'll definitely put that in consideration.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this issue?
Good evening, Council. Peggy McQuaid, Albany resident. I just want to point out one thing you haven't mentioned. There are 2 schools on that corner. There's also McGregor High School. And I understand the school district has some thoughts about possibly doing something on that site in probably the near future. So I think it sort of is a good idea for you to talk to them and see what their short-term, long-term plans are, if you haven't already. You may have already thought of that, but they're kind of talking other uses for that site. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good point. Is there anyone else from the audience who would like to speak to this issue? Seeing no one, we'll bring it back to council.
Seems like a good idea. I mean, I wonder in the long term, given the reputation Albany has of having a very high water table, how much we're going to be able to put water, if we really want to raise that table anymore, but certainly worth going for the grant.
I move that we adopt resolution number 2013-58, authorizing submittal of an application to the State Water Resources Control Board for the Proposition 84 Stormwater Grant Program for the Brighton Street Pilot Green Street project in the amount of $300,000.
Second?
Is that you, Mike? Okay. It has been moved by Vice Mayor Weil, seconded by Councilmember Barnes, that the City Council adopt resolution number 2013-58, authorizing submittal of an application to the State Water Resources Control Board for the Prop 84 Stormwater Grant Program for the Brighton Street Pilot Green Street project in the amount of $300,000. Is there any further discussion? I do think it's a good idea to check with the school district. Will you please poll the council?
Councilmember Atkinson?
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes?
Aye.
Councilmember Moss?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Weil?
Yes.
Mayor Thompson?
Aye, and the motion carries. Next item, please.
Other business reports on meetings attended, announcement of events, future agenda items. Albany Fire Department Pancake Breakfast and Open House, October 12th, 8 to noon.
Anybody? Okay. If there's no further business, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So-
I guess, we don't adjourn, we just change gears? All right, so then the next item, we'll call for the next item.
Board Member Atkinson?
Albany Municipal.
Albany Municipal Code Service Joint Power Authority. Amendment to agreement with Regional Government Service for interim finance director and an update on recruitment timeline. Staff recommendation that the board, A, confirm the proposed process and timeline for initiating the finance and administrative service director recruitment, and B, authorize the city manager to execute an amendment to the agreement with Regional Government Service for interim finance director services.
Staff, please.
So our interim finance director, Paul Rankin, will present this.
Members of the board, actually, we're going to only ask you this evening to take action on the first item, and the contract amendment will actually come back to the city council since it's an agreement with the city. I'm still learning the process here, and it got put on the wrong agenda, so we'll fix that. But what we have before you this evening is, and we wanted to touch base with you on the recruitment process to be used for filling the finance director position. What is being recommended is that staff would solicit proposals from recruitment firms, come back to you at a future meeting with a recommendation to proceed with a firm and sort of lay the groundwork to begin the recruitment process. I know that with the departure of the city manager at the same time, the intent was to have that recruitment going before so that the person can have input and sort of see the balance of skills there. So this will allow that. We foresee coming back to you probably early November with something, and then that would allow the recruitment to begin with sort of a conceptual closing date, and all of this is subject to consulting with the firm to get their best expertise, but a closing date somewhere mid to late January, and that would give the council time to have input on the selected candidates and go through their process with the recruitment firm. So with that, I will try and answer any questions, or perhaps Mr. O'Keefe can too.
Does any board member have a question? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this issue? Seeing no one, we'll bring it back to the board.
So the request would be that you just confirm that we're on the right track in terms of moving ahead with a recruitment firm. We'll be back to you at your next meeting, or at the next council meeting in October on the contract amendment.
Right, thank you. Chair will entertain a motion.
Okay, I move that we confirm the proposed process and timeline for initiating the Finance and Administrative Services Director recruitment.
Second.
It has been moved by Board Member Atkinson and seconded by Vice Chair, I guess we would say, Weil, that we confirm the proposed process and timeline for initiating the Finance and Administrative Services Director recruitment. Is there any discussion? Will you please poll the board?
Board Member Atkinson?
Aye.
Board Member Barnes?
Aye.
Board Member Moss?
Aye.
Vice Chair Weil?
Yes.
Chair Thompson?
Aye, and the motion carries. Is there any other business? If not, Chair will entertain a motion regarding adjournment.
Aren't we going to close session?
Yeah, we'll adjourn to closed session for the purpose of property negotiations.